Hello, welcome back. In Chapter 29, we will learn about conjunctions, sentence connectors, adverbial expressions, and summary statements. Conjunctions such as and, but, or, are used to join sentences. For examples, George studied in the library, and Paul watched a movie. Mary went to the picnic, but Alice stayed home. We can go to the movies, or we can watch television. Conjunctions also join parts of sentences. For examples, he sat in a chair and read a book. We were happy but tired. You can go by bus or taxi. When conjunctions are used to join sentences, a comma is usually inserted before the conjunction. When conjunctions are used to join two parts of a sentence, usually no comma is used. Some examples of parts of sentences are the following. Predicates. For examples, sat in a chair. Read a book. Adjectives. For examples, happy, tired. Nouns. For examples, bus, taxi. It is important to note that only one style of punctuation has been recommended here. Some writers, however, use other styles. I give you additional examples. He wants to go, but he can't. He wants to lie down and sleep. He wrote 2 weeks ago but hasn't received an answer yet. Mary bought a new car, and Helen did too. Sentences may also contain 3 or more items. For examples, he bought a book, 2 pens, and some paper. He sat in a chair, read a book, and drank a glass of lemonade. Exercise 1. Some of the following sentences must be punctuated with a comma. Students may copy each sentence on the blackboard or on a piece of paper and add commas where necessary. Examples. Mary was happy but Alice was very sad. Mary was happy, but Alice was very sad. Now, I want you to continue to practice by completing the following exercise. You can pause your video while doing the exercise. You can notice the use of the sentence connector, however, to join two sentences. In the previous pattern, we learned about conjunction. For example, Mary was happy, but Alice was very sad. In the new pattern, we learn about sentence connector. For examples, Mary was happy. However, Alice was very sad. Mary was happy. Alice, however, was very sad. Mary was happy. Alice was very sad. However, the examples above shows 3 ways to place the sentence connector, however. I hope you notice that. When sentence connectors are used to connect two sentences, the first sentence usually ends in a period. A comma is never used between the two sentences. However, sometimes a semicolon is used in place of a period. Sentence connectors occur in the beginning, in the middle, or at the end of the second sentence. It is important to note that the meaning of however is similar to the meaning of but. Both are used to indicate the information that follows is contrary to the information that precedes. Therefore is used to introduce a consequence. For example, it's always warm in Hawaii. Therefore, there is never any snow there. Exercise 2. Copy each sentence on the blackboard or on a piece of paper, and add the correct punctuation. I provided examples for you. Alice went to the picnic but Mary stayed at home. The correct version is, Alice went to the picnic, but Mary stayed at home. Mary can read Spanish, however she can't speak it. The correct version is, Mary can read Spanish. However, she can't speak it. Now, I want you to continue practice by completing the following exercise. You can pause your video while doing the exercise. Exercise 3. Add an appropriate sentence connector. You can use therefore. For example, he is sick. He can't come. He is sick. Therefore, he can't come. You can use also. For example, he has a cold. He has a cough. He has a cold. Also, he has a cough. You may use however. For example, he is in bed. He can get up tomorrow. He is in bed. However, he can't get up tomorrow. Now, I want you to continue practice by completing the following exercise. You can pause your video while doing the exercise. It is possible to group many of the conjunctions and sentence connectors into 3 large groups. Although the members of each group are similar in meaning, they are not all completely identical. The conjunctions and connectors in the first group relay 2 bits of information that are contrary to each other. The word in the second group relay 2 bits of information that are similar to each other. The word in the third group indicate a consequence relationship. But, yet, are examples of the words used as conjunctions. However, nevertheless, still, on the contrary, on the other hand, in contrast, in spite of that, and conversely, are used as sentence connectors. And, also, are belong to conjunctions. But, also can function as sentence connectors. The other sentence connectors are besides, moreover, furthermore, indeed, likewise, similarly, in addition, in fact, and as a matter of fact. Therefore, consequently, thus, and as a result, are sentence connectors as well. Further, you can notice the use of adverbial expressions, of time, and place, to relate 2 sentences to each other. For examples, we have breakfast at 8 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, we have class. We have classes all morning. In the afternoon, there is the laboratory period. Farms are usually small in the east. Farther west, you will find much larger ones. There are cotton fields in the south. In the north, there are many cornfields. Each example sentence contains an adverbial expression, of time, and place. In the second sentence of each pair, the adverbial is in initial position. This adverbial helps relate the second sentence to the first. Often, but not always, the word there occurs between an adverbial and a form of be or certain other verbs. You can see sequences 2 and 4. I provided you with additional examples. Example 1. We began our practice of English sentence patterns with short sentences. Then we practiced long and complex sentences. Later we practiced long and complex sentences. Next we practiced long and complex sentences. Afterwards we practiced long and complex sentences. Example 2. We are practicing long and complex sentences now. Earlier we practiced short sentences. Example 3. We began practicing intonation the first day in class. Before, we had never heard of it. Example 4. It never snows in my country. Here, it snows a lot. Example 5. The winter is very cold here. There, it is warm. Example 6. I don't like the winter here. Elsewhere, I have enjoyed it. Now, I hope you can use the examples given in your own sentence. Observe the use of there in the following sentences. Note that the pattern, with there, is used with certain verbs, other than the after expressions, of time, or place. Now look at the following sentences. New Mexico and Arizona were the first states we visited. Next, there was California. Los Angeles was the first city we visited. Next, there came San Francisco. Driving to San Francisco, we had the Observe the time and space organization of the following sequences of sentences. Now, look at the following sentences. I came here 8 weeks ago. 7 weeks ago, I enrolled in this course. 3 weeks ago, I took an examination. Last week, I applied for admission to the School of Business Administration. Today, I attended my first class there. The state of Washington is in the northwest corner of the United States. South of Washington, there is Oregon. East of Oregon and Washington, there is Idaho. South of Oregon along the Pacific coast, the long state of California extends to the Mexican border. Eastward from California, there lie Nevada and Arizona. Exercise 4. Change the position of the time or place expression in the second statement in order to relate it more closely to the first. I provide you examples. Then, you should do the exercise that comes next. He gets up at 8 o'clock. He eats breakfast at 8:30. He gets up at 8 o'clock. At 8:30, he eats breakfast. They grow cherries in Michigan. They grow peaches in Georgia. They grow cherries in Michigan. In Georgia, they grow peaches. He studies from 6 until 9. He reads the newspaper from 9 until 10. He studies from 6 until 9. From 9 until 10, he reads the newspaper. Now, I want you to continue practice by completing the following exercise. You can pause your video while doing the exercise. Exercise 5. Change the position of the time or place expression in the second statement and add the word there. Examples. The pronunciation class is in the morning. The grammar class is in the afternoon. The pronunciation class is in the morning. In the afternoon, there is the grammar class. The Smiths bought a new house. A small garden is behind the house. The Smiths bought a new house. Behind the house, there is a small garden. China is situated here on the map. Siberia lies to the north. China is situated here on the map. To the north, there lies Siberia. Now, I want you to continue practice by completing the following exercise. You can pause your video while doing the exercise. Notice the use of a phrase, in other words, to introduce a sentence, which summarizes the information that precedes. For example, Bob enjoys swimming and playing tennis. He likes to watch football. In the summer, he goes to a baseball game every Saturday. In other words, he likes sports. Some common expressions used to summarize information are, in other words, in summary, in a word, in brief, briefly, in general, and to summarize. There are, however, slight differences in meaning and usage between these expressions. I provide you additional examples how to use, in other words, to summarize. New York is famous for its tall buildings. It has a great library and many museums. It is the theatrical center of the United States. Its population includes people from every country in the world. In other words, it is a fascinating city. The three branches of the U.S. government have considerable control over each other. The President appoints the 9 members of the Supreme Court for life and may veto legislation that has been passed by Congress. Congress may, in turn, override the President's veto. The Supreme Court may declare laws that have been passed by Congress and signed by the President to be unconstitutional. In other words, we may say that equal distribution of power constitutes an important part of government in this country. Exercise 6. Repeat the sentences and add a summarizing statement introduced by the phrase, in other words. I provide 2 examples for you. The first example. I like fishing and golf. My wife likes tennis. I like fishing and golf. My wife likes tennis. In other words, we like sports. The second example. Canada is larger than the United States. It is larger than Brazil or Argentina. Canada is larger than the United States. It is larger than Brazil or Argentina. In other words, it is the largest country in Western Hemisphere. Now, I want you to continue practice by completing the following exercise. You can pause your video while doing the exercise. Well done, students. You have learned a lot. I hope you enjoyed it, and keep practicing. See you again. Bye.